I actually have a question for you both, right? Because we constantly come back to this discussion. Well, it's really for you because I know your answer. We talk about the getting into tech, that process of just kind of having to focus and zone in. You had a mentor. You had Crump. We've had Crump on the show, really able to like walk you through a lot of things early on, introduce you, open doors. Did you have anybody like that for you early
I met
on?
Michael, by the way.
Yeah.
Nice guy.
Absolutely.
Yeah, his office is actually by my house, so
Oh,
he told
okay,
me
yeah.
to come out of the office. I ain't had a chance yet,
There you
but
go.
no, actually, in the tech world, I would say no. I go back and think. I've met a lot of people in my journey that's actually helped me in my tech. So I can't say it's just one particular person. I would say it's my passion I had for IT, right? So I was like, look, I'm gonna go out here and learn. But I think, a few bosses I had, a few people I worked with, they kind of pushed me. I'll never forget, there was this person I used to work with at a company called Wrexham, over in South Park. It's a bottling company. They used to make aluminum cans. I don't think they're around anymore. They got bought out. But anyway, there was a gentleman I worked with. His name was Ivor. He's over in California now. Him and his kids, is funny stories around that. But anyway, he was an exchange admin. And so he would actually, him and I forgot the other guy's name, but they used to push me in regards to figuring out what I wanted to do. Do I always want to be a system administrator, or do I want to, one of the guys was the manager over networking. And he was like, hey, here's a switch. Log into it, see what you like to do. I was like, okay, we got this test exchange server, a couple of Microsoft things. Go in there and play, but really figure out and hone in on what you want to do. Once you hone in, then that's the path you go, and then you start taking those steps to get there. And so one of the things that I did was my next job, I said, okay, I want my job to pay for me to get my certification.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so one of the jobs I got requirement was to get my certification, but they were going to pay for it. So I went to Chicago and I went to a boot camp.
Yeah.
And I tell you, that was probably the hardest thing I had ever done. You talking about a week worth of information and 3 tests in 7 days. So you're basically first 2 days, boom, you got a test. And then you got to forget everything you just learned and go and pass another one. I have to admit, the last test I did not pass because I was having a hard time with subnetting.
Okay.
And that was probably the hardest part of the Windows test.
Gotcha.
Was subnetting for me and trying to figure out, okay, you got a Class C subnet. How many IP addresses do you get in that subnet? And then there's this big calculation that you go through to get it. And so when I got home, I practiced because, after you fail a test, they actually give you a voucher to retake it at whenever time you want. So I went, I was like, okay, I'll go home, I'll study, and I went and retook the test and I passed. And so, I had a year in my new job to get it. It didn't take me long to get it, but it's just persistent, right? Don't give up. When you figure, if you fail at something in IT, don't give up. Because one of the things I've also learned is there's the Microsoft way, but then there's other ways to do things as well. So Microsoft has its specific way, but that doesn't necessarily mean that's the only way to get to a particular outcome.
But I would assume the theory behind all these things are relatively similar. So once you understand the theory of how to create an end goal, then kind of focusing through the different platforms and how they want you to do things kind of links back together.
Oh yeah. Regardless of what you're learning, whether it's starting a new job and learning a new skill, that company is going to teach you how to do it, right? Even with your certifications, Microsoft, they have created these tests. And so guess what? They have a specific way they want to do it. They're going to train you to do it that way. And so that way you can pass the test.
So I love that story because we always hear about all the successes. But I look like, hey, I didn't pass and I had to keep going.
Yeah.
As it, I met some turmoil. I hit a situation that wasn't ideal, but still got the job done.
Yeah.
And that's the stuff we're trying to really convey to folks, all the folks that we work with and everything. Like, this is going to be difficult. Some of this stuff is going to be the hardest stuff you've ever done.
Yep.
Keep going anyway.
Dog, and I've failed one certification in all my years of tech. I have my PMP, ACP, all the P's, right? I got all these Agile certifications, and just because of the nature of how they give Agile certifications to other things, it was like once I had the theory down, I could just kind of move through these questions, right? So last year, I'm building an addition to move my mom in. So I got people in and out of my house. I'm trying to move her in. We were about to go. Well, we had just came back off vacation. I have my SPC, which is like mastery level for all safe courses. Like I can teach and certify in safe.
Yeah.
Right. Took the class. I failed. And with Bank of America, they make you pay for the certification yourself, and then once you pass it, they hand you the money back. I'm like thousands of dollars deep into this remodel. I'm just coming off this vacation, and I failed that first. I was like, when I tell you it broke me, I was like, how are you gonna get through this thing? Sure enough, another 2 days, study. I was like, I want to keep it fresh because I know once I put this out of my mind, I'll be fine. Passed it. It was like the largest weight off the shoulders. But those 2 days, I probably slept like 30 minutes.
Yeah. No, I feel it's actually, so I left the Microsoft way very early on. No, hey, I take great pleasure in not messing with anything Microsoft on a day-to-day basis. But in the beginning, when I was thinking I wanted to go down the data route, I took a boot camp, and it was your MCSA and MCSE over the course of like 12 or 14 days or something crazy like that. It was insane. So a total of 5 tests, because the MCSA is 2 separate tests. You got to get 70 or 700 on each to pass. The last 3 were the same, but they were the MCSE.
Yep.
So everyone in the class is cooking. Like, I mean, we got the study groups going. Like, it's pushing, and you're not looking back on it. I tell everybody, like you said, have your job pay for your certifications. Like, learn what you're talking about first.
Yeah.
Do the work, build a portfolio, then have your job ideally pay for a certification. I didn't do that because I didn't have a mentor at the time, so I was just trying to figure something out. I go in, I pass every test up to the last test, and it wasn't just me. No one in the class passed the last test. Yeah, it was crazy. Because no one in the class had the business taking this MCSE. This is a Microsoft Certified Solutions expert on like data warehousing and stuff like that at the time.
Day 5, your brain is just mush.
Yeah.
So we already got through first test. We're in the depths of the second test, and they're asking experience-based questions like the MCSE. It's a lot based on experience. So I didn't have that. Well, even the folks that did have it, they were struggling with it. So we all got together. We're like studying, reading this book, and I'm really worried because I had to retake it there. So we only had 24 hours to do the retake. Jeez, and then after that, we ended up having to, like, we would have had to pay for it. So 24 hours, I'm studying, I hit the retake. I got like a 708. 700 was passing.
Yo, 75 was the passing grade.
Oh my gosh!
I was
the relief in my heart.
Yes,
like we were all just high, and everybody in our study group, we had like 4 people in our group. They all passed.
There you go.
Wait, no, I lied. There was one. I almost tried to put them out of my mind because I felt bad, but no, there was one that did it.
Somebody had to pay.
But the 3 did, and we went through, and they ended up retaking it later, I think, and passing. But that's. Everyone's going to have that experience.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Like, even when you get in the job, let's say you do the more appropriate route, which I think is learn what you're talking about first, then, have your job pay for some sort of certification. Even then, like you guys said, you're going to run into a challenge. You're going to fail a test at some point.
Oh, yeah.
It's just par for the course.